Hey, it's day 17, Camino de Santiago. We're in Calzadilla de la Cueza. Moving on today. We're not going to have a real long day today, but it looks like we will be starting out in some light rain. So it's 5:30 now, but I think I might hang around for a while till 6 and have breakfast at the cafe just outside and then take off from there. So heading out of Calzadilla at just about 6:30 onwards. By the way, as I'm walking out of Calzadilla, I did want to mention that right after this town, you cross a little river. I mean little, I think, and according to the map. And then I have an option. There's some trails that go more back into the woods and stuff. And I think I'm going to take those today because today's going to be a shorter day. And yeah, instead of taking the trail that goes right by the road. All right, shortly after leaving Calzadilla, I think it's called, you pass over a small river called the Rio Cueza. And at that point, you're offered an opportunity to stay on the main trail, which will be straight ahead along this road, or take an alternate trail, which goes back in the woods here. And I'm going to take the alternate trail, get off the road. I don't like hiking on the hard surface, and it just sounds better to be back in the woods than on the road. Another view of pre-dawn. Obviously, this is looking behind me, but I'm up on top of a hill that this alternate path has taken me to. It's really pretty from up here. And I'm just now turning off my headlamp for the day. Definitely no regrets on taking this far left alternate trail. I think I'm the only person out here, at least that I can see. So here's my view. On this alternate path, you climb up one of these rolling hills. It's not a bad climb, it's short and easy, but then you hike along the top of the ridge. See really nice views all around. As the sun gets a little higher, these views will be even better. So it looks like I'm getting ready to start going downhill into this town over here. I don't know for sure, but I believe that's the next town that Camino goes through. It starts with an L, and I'll have it for you when we get there. By the way, if you do decide to take this farthest left alternate out of Calzadilla, you really do need to have a GPS app, because like I just came down that hill there on this path, and then there's another path over here. Now I'm coming to a full intersection up ahead. I do go straight, but all I'm saying is it's not marked. There's no markings anywhere, so you kind of need the GPS app to know for sure that you're going the right way. So just going back a little bit, I don't remember if I mentioned it yesterday, but if you're going to stay in Calzadilla, when you first come into town, it's a bit confusing about the albergue situation, because the entrances to the two albergues are right next to each other. Get the one with the pool. They cost the same, and the albergue I stayed in was right next to it, and they locked their doors at 9. There's also some rumors on reviews, even on this app-wise program app that I use, that they shut off all the electricity, the Wi-Fi, and you can't even flush the toilets after 9. None of that is true. But they do and close the doors at 9. So when we got into town last night, or yesterday, Darius and I were the first two of our kind of extended group to get into town. We both went into the wrong albergue, the one we shouldn't have taken. But we did let everybody else know. We were sitting at a cafe out front. Hey, get the other albergue, not the one we have. So we all went out to dinner last night, 10 of us. And we actually had to leave dinner early and hustle back, and we got there right at 9. And they were closing the doors as we got there. And I had forgotten my hat. But I went up to the room, went back, and I said, hey, you're going to let me go back out? Take me 5 minutes to get down to the restaurant and back. Got to get my hat. And I love that hat. Well, when I got back there, the restaurant was closing. My hat was not there. I'm hoping one of the other 8 picked up my hat last night, but they were in another albergue, so I couldn't check with them. And 6 o'clock this morning when I was leaving, I didn't see any of them yet. So that's my hook for this video. You have to stay to the end to see if I get my hat back tonight. The town I was talking about earlier is this one right in front of me. Gorgeous view from up here on the hill. This trail does afford me the opportunity to give this town a miss by just going just beside it. The town is called Latigos. So I am going to give it a miss. This is as close as or probably the best picture anyway that I'm going to get. I will get a little closer. There it goes. All right, sun finally coming up over that ridge line. Really pretty. By the way, I'm way off the trail. just using my GPS map, cutting through fields and stuff. I'll rejoin back up with the Camino in a little bit. The Camino is actually on the other side of that road, if you can see it over there, maybe a half mile away. There is like a river that runs through there though, so I'll have to find a way to get across that somehow. Off the Camino a bit, heading north to try to get back to it. I think I see a dirt track that goes across that little river over there to get me back on the Camino. Not that I'm in a real big hurry to get back on it anyway. I kind of like being out here in the middle of nowhere. Just hiking up this tractor path. I guess technically I'm trespassing, but all the wheat's harvested. I mean, what am I going to do? There's my bridge to get back on the Camino over there, I think. My little off-road adventure. I'm back on the Camino. That town I filmed earlier, coming down the mountain, that was not Ladigos. That was Poblacion de Arroyo, which is not on the Camino de Santiago. It's off by about a mile and a half. But you know, when I was off the trail using GPS tracks to cut through cornfields and private property and stuff, I know it would be longer, but I wanted to see kind of what was up there. So here is actually the town of Ladigos, which I won't be going into. I'm just kind of going beside it. Seeing the next town coming up is Terradillos de los Templarios. By the way, I am almost 3 hours in to since I left today, but on the map I've only made like 10 kilometers, and that's a little slow, and that's because I took routes that weren't the shortest, and I cut off the trail for a while too, so that slowed me down. Probably cost me 3 or 4 kilometers, but that's okay. It was fun. Coming up on the town of Moratinos. A pretty small town, but there's some prices on the menu for the restaurant, the El Castillo. It looks like they have a little fort here. I mean, that's the fort. It's pretty unusual looking though. In Moratinos, back onto the Camino here, and it's a pretty small town. It's probably just above one horse town status. And just over the hill there, looks like we're gonna meander into this next town. Not sure what it's called yet. This cafe is right as you're coming into the border on the outskirts of this, what I think is a small town. San Nicolas del Real Camino. We're on what day is this? 16? So we stop at a cafe and I'm just getting ready to pull out, but these folks, good folks, just pulled in. My friends, they probably recognize them from dinner last night and from multiple other videos. So we're moving on. But when they all came walking into that cafe, they had my hat. Special thank you to you, Sam. I guess you'll watch these when you get home, for carrying my hat for me and returning it. Appreciate it. Because this came up over a rise. There's the next town. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's off in the distance there. So I've been hiking for 5 hours. I think I'm just gonna have an easy day and stay there tonight. All right, so still coming into town. Don't have anywhere to stay yet tonight. Obviously, there's the municipal albergue is usually the least expensive, but it looks like there's some hostels and so forth in the downtown area here too. So let's see what we got. So hostels, bars, restaurants. By the way, just around the corner from the municipal albergue, I see Lavanderia Auto Servicio, which means laundromat. What the outside of the albergue looks like is the Albergue de Peregrinos Cluny, and that's in the way they pronounce the city is like Sahagún. So it's difficult for me to pronounce. It's just like Sahagún. So let's take you inside. Gracias. When you first come in, you go over here, you show them your pilgrim passport and your national passport, and you pay the €5, and then you go in here on the first floor still. And your poles go there, your boots go there, and you go upstairs. This is what the bedding situation looks like upstairs. It's first come, first serve when you get here for the bunks. You can see, and there's 8 in each little quad complex, and you just have a partition wall over to the next quad complex. So not many beds are taken right now. I snag the lower, close to the door, because I like to slide out. You're not allowed to put your packs on your bed. I have a common area kitchen up here on the second floor, which is where the beds are, by the way. Small kitchen area, you can cook your own meals, and they have lockers available up here. Bathrooms, you know, are co-ed. Of course, you each have these are your showers here, your little change room. You close your door, you take your shower. But men and women both use these. Same with the bathrooms. Each one has its own door and a little commode. And hey guys, so today's hike was 6.5 hours, about 6:30 till 1 o'clock. When I got here, it was 21 kilometers. Yeah, so that's just like 12.5 miles, but I have no way of really measuring because I took an alternate route today and then actually went cross country for a while to climb up a mountain, not a mountain, but a hill, and then come back down. So I actually went a lot farther than that. The time is accurate, of course, but I can only measure the distance on the trail from city to city. The alternate trail distance, I have no idea what it is, so I wouldn't read much into that today, but it was a fairly easy hike, pretty much all level, and that's how it went today so far. All right, so this is the, well, I think it's a church right next to our albergue. So as I walk around the corner, I see you at the cafe with 2 new people that I had just now met. And Alan, right?
Alan, yeah.
Where are you
Canada,
from?
Vancouver area.
How has your experience been so far?
It's been great. A lot of pain, but a lot of reward as well.
Awesome. So how do you find the red wine and the beer?
The red wine is, and then the beers are cold, so you cannot complain too much.
All right, so really pleased to meet you, Alan.
Very pleased to meet you as well.
And what is your name, young lady?
I'm Katie from Canada. Grew up in New Brunswick, live in British Columbia now.
Awesome. Did you start in St. John? Or
We did, yeah. September 2nd we started.
And are you going to all the way to Santiago de Compostela or beyond?
Hopefully beyond. We'll play it day by day to see how it goes.
So has your Camino experience been everything you'd hoped it would be so far?
I think so, and a bit more. A few surprises. Yeah, my legs have been giving me troubles, but yeah, starting to get in the groove now.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. You've been looking at here is the ruins of the monastery of San Facundo y San Primitivo. They date back to the year 1099.